how Man United could offer so many players. Man United, the name alone conjures image of football glory. Busby babes, Sir Alex, treble winners, a sea of red in Stratford End. For generations, United have been synonymous with both history and ambition. But today, as the football world debates its transfer spending, many wonder, how can Man United still afford to spend so big, even as a club seems so far from its former heights? How did Man United end up being so miserable? Let's win back. Man United's rise began in 1950s, fueled by Bubsy's faith in youth. Through tragedy and triumph, the club became an icon. Under Sir Alex Ferguson, United reached the pinnacle, winning 13 Premier League titles and famous treble in 1999. But since Sir Alex Ferguson's departure in 2013, United have struggled to keep on the pitch. Boardroom conflicts, questionable transfers, and changing managers have led to a broken system, at least by standard of Old Trafford glory days. We can all trace this back in 2014, right after the departure of Sir Alex Ferguson, who was the co-engine of Man United. After his departure, Man United was shell of his former self. After changing more than 6 managers, they could just not replicate what Fergie did for United. And with 2025 season, United were hopelessly just above relegation. They were not just a mid-table club, but they had transformed themselves into a bottom-of-the-league club. Managers like Erik ten Hag and Amorim could not do anything to change United's fortune overnight. The managers were not backed by the board properly and were left with little or no support throughout the season. They lost 18 matches in all competition in 15th place in 2025 season. At times during season, it looked like Man United was fighting a relegation fight. So even after having such a miserable season, how is Man United able to spend so much money? For that, we need to understand where Man United makes money, not player sales, but their raw money income, the ultimate business model. Now for this bit, we are not adding the player's transfer amount. The figures are approx and total amount is like just close to what it could be. United commercial deals are envy of all football. The 2025 kit deal with Adidas is worth over £90 million per year. The main shirt sponsor, TeamViewer, adds another £47 million per year. Add secondary sponsors across tech, finance and travel and income source. Now, TeamViewer was the main shirt sponsor from 2021 to 2024. But just imagine racking up £47 million per year just from shirt sponsor. Now the latest stat regarding the shirt sponsor is even crazier as of 2025. Man United's current main sponsor for 2026 season is Snapdragon, the technology brand owned by Qualcomm. The Snapdragon logo is prominently featured on the front of United's kit, replacing TeamViewer from previous seasons. And the deal is reported to be around £60 million a year, with the contract running through 2029 after Qualcomm extended the agreement in 2024. We can just attribute this to the pulling power of Man United has all around the world. If you add the matchday revenues, the Old Trafford holding over 74,000 fans, United routinely earns over £160 million per season from ticket and sales. Hospitality, by far most in England. Now that's not just it, Man United also earns from broadcast income, TV streaming rights in vast sums, especially crucial for Premier League clubs. In just a broad comparison, Man United earned £172.9 million from broadcasting rights in 2025 season. This was a decrease of £48.9 million from the previous year, primarily because the club played in UEFA Europa League rather than the more lucrative UEFA Champions. It might be a bit disappointing that Man United are out of every major tournament, but we can just get an idea of what revenue might be if United could have played in Europe. Despite the drop in broadcast revenue, Man United achieved record revenues of £666.5 million in 2025, thanks to a strong increase in commercial and matchday revenue of £160.3 million. Globally, Man United earns about €146 million, that is £128 million, from kits and merchandise sales in 2024 season, ranking them one of the top clubs worldwide, just behind teams like Real Madrid, Barcelona and Liverpool. So now let's break down the sum of money United has earned altogether in 2025 season. Total revenue for 2025 season comes just shy of £800 million. When combating commercial deals matchday revenue, the figure aligns with the club's breaking The figure aligns with the club's record-breaking financial performance reports, despite operating losses in some departments. Now, to better understand where United stands with other clubs, we need to compare the revenue with other clubs. Now, let's compare what other clubs earn to get a good example of how Man United can spend so much even though it might finish last in Premier League. The club we need to compare has to be a club that has finished above Man United in Premier League. This way, we could have an idea about how United can pull the money commercially and financially. Nottingham Forest sets a club record revenue of around £190 million in 2024 season and expected to rise above £222 million in 2025 due to the Premier League prize money. Increased commercial revenue like sponsorship and UEFA Conference League participation next season. If we talk about in more detail, then the Forest nearly doubled their commercial income from around £15 million to £30 million in 2024 season. This includes roughly £8.6 million for merchandising and other commercial activities such as sponsorship and retail. Compare this with United's £47 million per year they had struck with just shirt sponsor is crazy, with United having increased amount to £60 million per year from Snapdragon starting in 2025. Merchandising accounted for about £7.1 million in revenue in 2024 season for Nottingham Forest, contributing a significant share of commercial income. The matchday income is mere compared to United because of 60,000 plus seating capacity. Gate receipts rose by approximately one-third from around £11 million to around £14 million, reflecting increased attendance and ticket prices at the City Ground Council, which has an average attendance of about 28,800. Broadcasting income increased slightly from £125 million to £130 million between 2023 and 2024 season, reflecting Premier League's TV right distribution and participation in European competition. Nottingham Forest front of shirt sponsor deal is now with Bailey's Corporation, worth an estimated £8 to £10 million per year. Even if we get an approx of all this, we have around £220 to £250 million, which is still a very low number compared to Man United's £665 million a year. A small comparison we can do with Aston Villa too, as Aston Villa revenues were expected to surpass £340 million in 2025 season, boosted by Champions League participation and prize money. Commercial revenue grew strongly for Aston Villa, with deals with Adidas and Betano and advanced sleeve sponsorship. Despite rising revenues, Villa's cost remains high, leading to operational losses, but financial scale is rising rapidly. You can see the vast amount difference Man United makes, even though Man United finished behind these Premier League clubs in 2025. Now if we add up the player sales, the story becomes a bit different, but not too much different. So if we add up player sales, Man United player sales in revenue 2025 summer transfer window was approximately £61.6 million. Key outgoing players included Alejandro Garnacho, was sold to Chelsea for around £40 million, is considered as pure profit. Anthony was sold to Real Betis for about £21.6 million, though it likely involved a loss compared to purchase price. Other departures on loan and free transfer include Johnny Evans, Christian Eriksen, Victor Lindelof, and Rasmus Holland on loan. Despite high spending of £219 million on new players like Matheus Cunha, Brian Mbeumo, and Benjamin Sesko, the total income for the player sales was significantly lower, leading to a net transfer spend of around negative £157 million. Now, all these transfer fees were covered by the revenue that United generated from last season's commercial assets, as we talked about earlier. And despite finishing lower in Premier League table than Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa in 2025, Man United generated approximately twice the revenue. This illustrates how United's global commercial power, premium stadium, and historic brand put them in a completely different financial league, enabling continued heavy spending on players despite recent poor league form.